Hiya, my name's Savannah Marshall and you're watching Sport and Icons.
Okay, so I was watching an interview with Eddie Hearn. Of course, he's talking about Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano this weekend at Madison Square Garden for the undisputed world titles. Now, firstly, listen, look, he's a promoter, okay? He's going to promote and exaggerate stuff anyway, okay? That's his job, so we can't criticise him for it. But one of the things that, well, there's quite a few things he said about this fight. Well, firstly, he said that this is the biggest fight in history for women's boxing. Now, some of you will be able to validate whether or not he's telling the truth on that one. As much as I do know a fair bit about women's boxing or whatever, I wouldn't call myself an expert on it. I really wouldn't, okay? I'm still playing catch up. Somebody like a Ring IQ, Jules, who I love his channel, he would be able to verify whether or not that's true or not. In my mind, my limited mind, when it comes to women's boxing, I always had it that it was Layla Ali and Christy Mine. That's kind of how I had it. Maybe I'm way off, I don't know. Maybe that fight was a commercial flop, who knows. But he was making a comparison between Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano to Claressa Shields and Savannah Marshall, where he says that Shields Marshall would be lucky to sell 2,000 tickets at Madison Square Garden, whereas Taylor Serrano have sold out. As I said, I don't know what the capacity was. I don't know about that. And how much of that was down to, say, maybe Jake Paul. Jake Paul is a huge influencer, is he not? This lad sells out arenas. He could probably sell out stadiums just on his own name. He manages Amanda Serrano. Okay? So how much of those tickets were down to his influence? How much of those tickets were down to Eddie Hearn's influence as well? Again, we have to give him credit compared to how much of it is Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano. These are the kind of questions that I don't know the answers to. I'm just putting them out there. But for him to say Shields Marshall would only sell about 2,000 tickets, again, I wouldn't know whether or not that's true. And we're not going to find out, are we? Okay? Unless their fight's going to be a classic and people demand that it happens at Madison Square Garden for a rematch. Okay? But 2,000 tickets doesn't seem like too much. It really doesn't. But here's the thing, and here's something that I do know. I do know that Savannah Marshall, Claressa Shields, is looking at St James's Park, Newcastle United Football Club. My home city, Newcastle. That's how I know about like some of this stuff, okay? Of course, I've done an interview with Adam Smith, and I asked him that question as well. So at least it's a consideration, at a minimum, it's a consideration to put Shields Marshall on in a stadium, St James's Park, which is a 57,000 all-seater stadium, plus however many you can fit onto the pitch. I don't know, an extra few thousand, right? 60,000, 60,000, would that be fair to say? So if they're thinking about putting that fight as the headliner on a stadium show, how well would Taylor Serrano do in a stadium at St James's Park, at the Emirates, Arsenal, at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, at Old Trafford in Manchester, at Anfield in Liverpool? How would they do? Maybe a stadium in Ireland, maybe a stadium in America somewhere. Was that ever a consideration? Probably not. I wouldn't have thought so. So for him to degrade or downgrade Savannah Marshall and Claressa Shields, very, very disrespectful. Listen, I understand they're not his fighters. He has to promote the ones that he's got. Can't knock him for that, of course not. That's his job, right? But I think, as far as I'm concerned, very, very disrespectful. For a lot of people, Shields Marshall is a bigger fight than Taylor Serrano. For a lot of people, it is. Okay? One example. Who's more well known in America, as an example? Claressa Shields or Amanda Serrano? I'd never heard of Amanda Serrano before Katie Taylor was in boxing. I'd never heard of her. Until she defeated her sister, I'd never heard of her. Honestly, I hadn't. Many of you will have, okay? But does she carry huge value? What kind of arenas was she selling out beforehand? How many headline shows did she do? How many? What about Katie Taylor? How many headlines has she done? To my knowledge, 2, maybe 2. But at the end of the day, obviously, it's like certain things, one fighter can sell a minimum amount of tickets for one particular fight, another fighter can sell a low amount for another fight, but you put them together, it makes it so much bigger. So maybe that's the situation here with Taylor and Serrano. But I do firmly believe that a lot of this is down to Jake Paul. Jake Paul could manage me to do a boxing match, and he would probably sell out Madison Square Garden for me. Okay, that's honestly how I see it. So, but for him to disrespect Savannah Marshall and Claressa Shields, their fight, downgrade it, to say that only 2,000 would be sold. Well, they don't have Jake Paul, so maybe he's right on that one. Maybe he's right. But could Taylor Serrano be even looked at to be fighting in a stadium like Marshall and Shields is? Again, let's forget what the nationality in that is, because some people say, yeah, but in America, people ain't that interested in Claressa Shields and Savannah Marshall. Of course, I know Claressa Shields, but a lot of people don't like Claressa Shields for whatever reason that may be. So maybe they go, but we like Serrano more, we like Katie Taylor more, we're more interested in that. But okay, that's in America, that's Madison Square Garden, that's not the world. We're talking about world. To become the biggest all-women's fight in the history, we have to talk about America. We're not talking about the biggest all-women's fight in America, we're talking about the world. So you do have to factor in the United Kingdom and other countries, okay? Anyway, that's my thoughts on it all. I mean, personally, listen, I like Katie Taylor, I've always said that, and of course I'm going to be looking forward to that fight. But I'm looking forward to Savannah Marshall, Claressa Shields more. Of course, there is some bias. Obviously, Savannah Marshall's from the Northeast. I'm from the Northeast. But even that aside, I think I'd be more interested in that fight. If I had a choice where both of these fights were on at the same time, I'm going to be watching Savannah Marshall, Claressa Shields. So this is a bit of needle with them ones. With Taylor and Serrano, there isn't any needle. They both come across as lovely, lovely people. Nothing wrong with that, but hey. Anyway, listen, that's my thoughts. You drop me yours, click thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next video.